What is up, guys? My name is MipZ and welcome back for yet another League of Legends video. So today's video is it's pretty cool. Today we're playing a champion that I think a lot of people might refer to as being a little bit fishy, pun intended. This is a really fun champion, actually a champ that I know for a fact a lot of people have been using over many seasons as a champ to smurf on and carry games, because he can become really frustrating for the enemy to play against, because if he's ahead, he's a pain to play against. This video was also requested by Rolf Eric, Christopher Roseford, and Tanmay Akrid. Today we are of course playing Fizz. So first of all, we are going to start off buying our potion. We are going to be buying the corruption potion. This is the starting item that most people go for on Fizz. You can also go for Doran's Ring or Dark Seal, depending on, basically kind of depends on your style, but for most people, corruption potion is going to be good. Dark Seal can be really nice if you want to go into something like a Soul Stealer, but you could also build that later. Anyway, we're not going to focus that much on the items in this guide. As you guys, for those of you who haven't seen my guides before, then what we're going to focus on and the agenda for this video is, first of all, we're going to start off by talking a little bit about who this champion is for, or at least what to expect. And then we're going to go into kind of just how the different spells work, like the ins and outs of every spell, so you're sure that you know exactly how everything works together, because most people don't actually know. I can tell you for a fact that I think most people probably don't know that your Q always applies on hit effects, meaning that if you have like a Lich Bane, then it can proc that one if you use an ability before that. We'll get into it. I'll explain that in detail as we get to it, but just as kind of a teaser, there are a lot of things you can do on Fizz that a lot of people are actually not aware of, just due to the fact that they don't read the spells and they don't really think about how you can actually combine them when you do. So we're gonna go into all the nifty things that's gonna give you all the tools you need in order to master this champion. The video is not made to show you guys the best gameplay ever. I'm gonna try and do decent in the game, but I am recording this live, meaning that I will make mistakes, especially as I'm trying to explain at the same time. All that aside, let's start off by talking a little bit about who this champion is for. So Fizz is or at least most people play this guy in the mid lane, and he is a melee champion, and for that reason this is not a champ that I would, if you have never played League before and you're just starting out and you're sitting there and being like, I want to find my very first champ to play, then I would be cautious choosing Fizz. I'm not saying don't do it, but he is a melee champion in the mid lane, and most mid laners are ranged or have some kind of ranged attacks, and it is going to make it a little bit difficult for you as a new player if you haven't really gotten like the basics of the game down yet. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say for beginners, or for if you're a complete new player. But once you have kind of the basics down and you are a beginner plus, I guess, if you could say that, then he's actually a great champion to play. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I personally think that the Fizz playstyle, the playstyle of this champion, caters really well to newer players. And what I mean with this is that usually when you play Fizz, and the way, that was really painful. The way he works is basically that he really wants to go all in. And for those of you who don't really know what I mean with going all in, it basically just means that Fizz really wants to we can actually get the boot, so we'll get that. Fizz really wants to just, when he attacks, he's going for the kill. He's not gonna go like being like, let me poke you here, let me poke you there, and a little bit here. He's more like, let me just bring the whole party to your backyard and and completely smash that place. So that's kind of what he wants to do. But with that said, then he can of course also kind of poke. I'm not saying he can't poke at all, but usually when you do poke on him, it's kind of more to show that, yeah, that you're superior. So mostly it's gonna be poking where the enemy's gonna, where you know for a fact the enemy's just gonna back off because they're like, I'm gonna die if I stay in this. So that's kind of what you want to stick for. So yeah, Fizz is definitely in that way. He's kind of he's kind of own entity. Like he really wants to go all in, which I think is really good for newer players. And the reason why I believe this is because newer players don't really have the feeling of how all the other champs work yet. And when you don't have that, it can be really hard to being like, okay, this is a good trade. And Fizz wins a lot of duels. Like he's super strong. And really, gonna run down here. This might be a little painful. We're gonna have to run all the way around. This guy's not doing too bad right now, but he's also just allowed to pokers a lot. Come on, give me that level 6. He's in trouble now. All right, and we're gonna be able to hit or R there. Nice, good job. I'm actually happy that I didn't get that kill because this guy really deserved it. That was super nice. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you helping me while I'm explaining because it makes it a little bit harder. Anyway, as I was saying, then yeah, Fizz really wants to go all in, and you will really see this as we start explaining the kid why that is. Once he uses his abilities, he's kind of like, eh. So yeah, you really do want to go all in. But he is a great dueler, and he wins most he can win most matchups. He's also a great roamer, and like just overall early mid game he's super strong. Then late game he kind of falls off a little bit, but if you play him right, he can still be super strong. Yeah, and I don't quite remember if I said it, but at the end of this video, or the last subject on the agenda, is going to be how to play this guy in early, mid, and late game. But I don't remember if I said it. Just want to put it out there. But let's put all this aside and talk a little bit about the abilities and how they actually work. Because, yeah, that's kind of what we're going to be using. So, yeah. All right, our first ability is called Nimble Fighter, and Nimble Fighter is actually, I don't know if I would say it's underrated. I would just say that a lot of people don't know what it does because it's so subtle. It's a thing that you don't know you have unless you read it. I think most people just by playing won't notice this, but it is a really good thing to know. This is Sears really poking us a lot. And we should be able to... Oh, we should be able to get him. There we go. And we're gonna run away. No, Master Yi. Okay, that was I guess, yeah, that happened. That's fine. Okay, so Nimble Fighter is Fizz passive ability, and this ability is actually pretty cool. What it does is that it allows Fizz to run through units. Basically, it says that it allows Fizz to ignore what is called unit collision. And unit collision is basically just that, yeah, you run through units. Usually when you're farming and you're behind your minions or something, you want the last hit. Then if you're kind of behind your minions and out of range, then he's going to try and kind of move around the minions. But Fizz can just run straight through, and that's the difference from all the other champions. I can see if I can show you down here. Okay, we'll take the next minion and show you on, so we don't take a lot of unnecessary damage. We've made this lane hard enough for ourselves already. Okay, so you can see you can run straight through all of your minions, and usually your champion will just go around them. So that's the first side of your passive ability. This makes it a lot easier to farm. And this is, I'm pretty sure that the two passive effects that your passive has is made specifically for making it easier to farm on Fizz. So yeah, it's pretty nice. Your passive, or your second part of your passive, is basically, whoop, let's hit him once. The second part of your passive just it basically just enables Fizz to take less damage from all sources. The way this works is basically just that Fizz takes a constant damage or a constant reduced damage from all sources, and this scales with his ability power. So it does become stronger, but it's always there, so you don't really notice it, if that kind of makes sense. I don't know how else to explain it. So that's also why people don't notice it. And as you can hear, both this one and and the unit collision kind of both caters to the fact that it allows you to take less damage when you go in full farm, and allows you to run through minions such that you get poked for a shorter amount of time, because you don't have to run around your minions. All right, so that's basically all your passive does. It's pretty simple, but it's nice to know. Our next ability is called Urchin Strike, and Urchin Strike is honestly insanely good, and it has like a part of it that a lot of people don't really know about. I would believe that most people probably below end gold don't know this, and we talked a little bit about it in the start. But Fizz Q Urchin Strike applies on hit effects. This means that if you use a Lich Bane, Sheen, or something else that has an on-hit effect, then it actually applies it. And a lot of people might be asking, like, well, dude, how do you actually apply it? Because if you click it, I'll show you once we get it. But if you click it, then it just gives the Shen proc down here. But the thing is that the Shen, I'll show you guys from the... I'll show you guys in the shop in a moment, and I'll explain why or how it works, because it's kind of a weird thing. Oh, this should be a kill. Thank you. All right, because it's kind of a strange thing. If we have a look at, let's just, I'm just gonna really quick push this back, and then we're gonna back such that I can explain it. So if we look at the Lich Bane as an example, it has this Spell Blade, and Spell Blade basically just says that you deal some extra damage on the next basic attack after using an ability, which is super cool. This is a primary item on Fizz. It's insanely good. But the thing is, if you just use your Q, you will have the thing down here, or the proc from the Spell Blade, this one saying that your next basic attack will deal this extra damage. But if you use the, let's say, your W or your E to get this proc down here, then your Q will actually kind of act as a basic attack, meaning that you're going to deal this damage straight away. So this is the reason why you always want to pop your W before Qing. We'll talk about that when we get into the combos. But yeah, your Q applies on hit effects. Very, very essential. Not many people knows this. So really do remember it. It can really up your game a lot. All right, so that is that one, or the first part of it. The next part of it is, of course, that your Q does a good chunk of damage. That's this dash. So you can dash on an enemy target, and Fizz kind of makes this dash forward. I'll show you guys again. It basically does this, boom. And you can dash in any direction, or you can dash through your target. So depending on which way you're facing, then you're gonna dash that way, or depending on which way your target is. I don't know how to explain it. So if your target is here and you Q it, you're gonna end over here. And yeah, you can do it over minions. So if you Q out of range here, you can Q over walls like this. You can also E over walls. We'll talk about that one in a moment. But you can Q over walls, which is super useful. You can use it on minions or something else. But you can only Q if you do have a target. So yeah, that's kind of like the Q. Your Urchin Strike, just recap really quick. It gives on-hit effects. It allows you to deal some damage to the target that you use your Q on. And it has this dash effect, which is super cool. So that is your Urchin Strike. Super good ability. All right. Next up, we have or what's it called? It's called Seastone Trident. Just needed to remember. So Seastone Trident has also, it's your W. It has two parts of it. First of all, it has the passive side, which is kind of a subtle thing. I think people might notice this as they're playing, because there's kind of a visual indicator of it. Every time that Fizz basic attacks a target, that target gets a 3-second rend effect on it. And people might look at me and be like, MipZ, what is a rend effect? Well, a rend effect is basically like, in my opinion, the easiest way to explain it is basically it's just a bleed. It's a bleed. I think it deals magic damage instead of physical. I think correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's the difference between rend and bleed. I'm not 100% sure, but what it does is just that it allows you to deal some damage over 3 seconds to the target that you auto attack. So if we auto attack this minion, boom, you can see it starts taking 13 damage, and it does this for 3 seconds, and that's all it does, that passive side. If you hit the same target multiple times, then it just refreshes the duration. It doesn't extend it, it doesn't put more stacks on it, it just refreshes it. Dang, that was hard to say. It just refreshes the duration. Okay, so that's the passive side of that one. Then we have the active side, and the active side is something that we'll explain just after we don't kill that guy. The active side of your Seastone trident, your W, is that you can click it, of course, because it's an active side. I think we'll stay in lane for a little bit, actually. And whenever you click this ability, then your next basic attack deals some extra damage. This is super neat and really, really freaking good. It's something you really want to use, yeah, basically always, whenever you're going for an all-in. I'll explain how you specifically want to use it because it has two sides of it. So it deals some extra damage. Let's talk about that first. If you, on the basic attack that you've empowered, if you kill the target, then the cooldown is reduced to 1 second, like this. You can see, boom. Like if we hit this one, then boom, it refreshes to 1 second, meaning that we get it back a moment after, which is super neat. Okay, so that's if you refresh it. Also, there's one thing that you do need to know about this that is super, super, super crucial, is that, oh, there's a ward here. That is super crucial, is that whenever you click or you use the active part of your Seastone trident, then it resets your auto attacks. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it's fairly simple. A refreshing auto attacks means that you can auto attack, click this, and it allows that auto attack straight away again, like that. That's all that means. So yeah, when you click this your Seastone trident, then your next auto attack is empowered, dealing extra damage. If you kill the target, then the cooldown is reset to 1 second. If you do not kill the target, then you actually empower all of your next basic attacks for 5 seconds, which is also very, very good. But the cooldown is, of course, going to be a lot longer because it's going to have the full cooldown. We might be able to get this. Should be able to. Oh, probably shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I'm going to pay the price for that bad play. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. That was my bad. My bad. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to get that one. We're going to get that one. We're going to get that one. We're going to need a new control ward, and then we're all good. All right. So that was kind of that one. So quickly summarizing your W. Passive side gives bleed 3 seconds, and that's basically the passive. And remember, it cannot stack multiple times. Attacking a target more than once just refreshes the duration. The active side is that it resets your auto attacks, meaning that you always, or your auto attack timer, meaning that you always want to auto attack once before clicking your W if you are already in the engage, because that way you're going to attack 2 times rapidly after each other. If you kill the target, it resets to 1 second, meaning you can click it basically almost instantly again. And then that way refreshing your auto attacks again, doing like bursting really, really quickly. So it's something to keep in mind. If you do not kill the target, then you get this 5 seconds buff where your attacks are empowered. I'll do that. I'll click this in a moment just to show you guys. We'll see. Okay, I'll click it here so you can see if I click W here and we do not kill anything. Right now it says next attack. Okay, we actually do have to attack something that we don't kill. I was actually unsure about this. So nice to get that clarified. Gonna pop my ult over there. It should hit. This is probably the bad way of going about it, but Nice. Okay, Wooly got it. Sweet. Okay, so yeah, that's that part of it. Let's talk a little bit about Fizz's next ability, his E. His E is called Playful / Trickster. And the reason why it's called this is because it kind of has two ways of working. The first one is Playful. I'll showcase that one here. Playful is just clicking E, waiting for him to fall down again. The duration before Fizz jumps off his trident is 0.75 seconds. And what happens when he jumps off it is that he deals a good chunk of damage to... Oh, yeah, my bad. I'm sorry, guys. I'll go... Yeah, we lost Drake because of me. Yeah, we won't be able to do anything about this now. All right. But when Fizz goes down from his trident, then in this big area here, you could see basically the void thing coming up. There he deals damage to any target that is close by. He slows them for a good chunk as well, and that's basically it. That's the Playful. So that's if you do not reactivate. The thing is, when you are on top of the trident, you can click your E again to jump down. So you can actually decide when to jump down. But if you do this, then the slow effect is removed, so you do not slow your target. And secondly, your what's it called, like the radius or the area that Fizz deals damage in becomes a lot smaller. So you can see this is the small one, this little one, and if it's the Playful one, oh, I could have hit that actually. Let's get this down. I should just click the ult further down. This ult has really long range, to be honest. I should have hit that. All right, so that's the only difference between Playful and Trickster is that Playful is whenever you don't reactivate your E. So when you just jump up, jump down, you can see the range or how big an area it deals damage in is pretty big. And if you click the Trickster, then it becomes a lot smaller and does not slow. So that's the big difference between those two. A cool thing with your E, with your Playful and your Trickster for that matter, is that whenever you are you can use your flash while being on top of your trident. So if you E, then you can actually flash while being up here to reach further and then fall down on top of people. This can really trick them. I'll see if I can show it throughout this game how to actually do this. Another thing is that you can jump over walls with your E. You can, as I told you guys earlier, you can also do this with your Q if you have a target. This is going to be very useful for you to get away. Also, you can use your Q on minions to kite away from people and all these kind of cool things. Okay, so that's your E, that's your Trickster. That's all it does. Your next ability is Chum of Water, Chum D Waters, which is probably one of, if not the most iconic spell, maybe challenged by Trickster and Playful, but one of the most iconic spells of Fizz, and that is his shark. So Fizz ult is basically this thing that allows him to call upon a big fat shark that is kind of becoming emerge from the water and be like, which is super cool. This thing deals a good chunk of damage. It knocks up the target if the lure binds to a target. The lure meaning, let's see if we can use it on a target. Okay, we're just gonna kill this guy without, because I think we might need our ult in a second. The lure, oh, this guy's in here and he thinks we don't know. Yep. Oh, I could have showed you the flash there. Okay, I'll show you the flash right here. So you can do E, flash, and you can see I can fall down on top of this guy, which is super cool. I won't be able to catch this. All right, just wanted to show you guys. I knew I was probably not going to get the kill, but it's a nice, very nice trick that you can do with the Playful. Okay, so Chum the Waters is your ult, as we talked about. It allows you to throw out your shark. The shark, the range you can throw the shark at is super big. You can see we can throw it all the way out here from this place, basically. It's insane. I actually don't need to put that on. It's really, really long range. And the thing is, if the shark hits an enemy when it's traveling, then it lures on top of that target, or it sets upon that target, and that target becomes slowed, which is super good. And also, I actually need it back, to be honest. That target becomes slowed, which is super good. And after a brief moment, the shark is going to come up from the waters, and it's going to knock them into the air and deal a good chunk of damage. Any target close to that, like close to the target you hit, or to the area in which the shark emerges from, is gonna, whoop, I think we're gonna start building this actually. Is gonna get knocked to the side. So whatever side they are on from the sharks, from the center of this shark, is gonna get knocked to either side, and they are also gonna be slowed by up to 80%, and they're gonna take some damage, which is insanely good. Okay, so this is... There we go. Not gonna be able to finish this, that's for sure. I'm dead. I'm 100% dead. Alright. Not a perfect play. We did a good job at the early here. We should have just ran straight away instead of kind of... I was kind of in doubt whether or not I should go for that engage. Maybe I should backed up earlier, but I thought that was kind of a lost fight. So yeah, but it's hard for me while I'm explaining, so yeah, we'll see. Anyway, your ult, very simply, throw this shark. The longer range you, like, the longer you throw the shark, the bigger the shark is going to be, the more damage it's going to deal, and the more it's going to slow. It slows by up to 80%, which is insane. If it hits a target while you throw it, while it's traveling, then that target becomes slowed until the shark emerges. When it emerges, they got knocked up in the air. Anything close to it gets knocked to the side. And yeah, you deal damage to all of them, which is super sweet. And then they're slowed for a brief moment afterwards by up to these 90 or 80%, which is absolutely ridiculously strong. What you can do to up how often you're going to hit on your ult is that you can actually use your Q on a target. So let's imagine a minion is here. You could Q on that minion, then ult as you're traveling, which is super cool. This is definitely going to allow you to hit a lot more of those abilities. So, whoop. Let's see if I can get out of that. I don't want to go all in here. I think we might just go for a shark on top of this Master Yi. Make sure that we get him down, because he seems to be a big threat for our team. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how you actually do want to play this guy in the early, in the mid, and in the late game. Because this is of course a very essential part. So the thing is that Fizz, as I said earlier, is a pretty strong early and mid game champion. He definitely is. Oh, I'm a little afraid of this. Let's see. So how do you actually play this guy in the early game? Well, in the early game, Fizz is like, oh wow, whoop. In the early game, whoop. I just need some help here, dude. I'm pretty sure I can't beat that guy, to be honest, so I'm gonna back out. In the early game, Fizz is very strong at level 3 and level 6 especially. That's some pretty good times to go for all-ins. And generally speaking, yeah, he just want to go for an all-in. Learning him early game and playing aggressive with him there is super freaking good. But yeah, pretty often you're going to be able to get kills at level 3 and level 6, because that's really where he power spikes, which is, yeah. But the general tactic is try to shove your lane, because you really want to have control. His lane clear is decent, but getting control of the lane by shoving it a bit makes it a lot easier to play Fizz, especially because it will also allow you to rotate or roam around, helping the other lanes. And Fizz is amazing at helping other lanes, so don't ever underestimate. I know we didn't do it in this one. That's mostly because it's a little hard for me to kind of have this map awareness while also trying to speak to you guys. But that's something you really want to think about, especially if you feel like you're playing against somebody who's playing super defensive, or somebody where you're like, I can't really get a grasp of this guy. Then try and look for opportunities to roam. as you move into the mid game, you kind of want to play him a bit assassin style. He is still this kind of really strong champion that can 1v1 most people. You are able to split push, but he's not an amazing split pusher. So you kind of just want to try and see if you can pick people off, which is what he really exceeds at. Like, you can sit and wait in a bush for a moment if you know somebody's going to pass through. Make sure you have your vision up. I know that I'm saying this and I have all my wards in my inventory, but it's just because it's, yeah, as I said, it's hard for me to keep a good map awareness while also trying to explain this in a good fashion. So just take my word for it, vision is key. So yeah, you can assassinate people pretty easy with it, or with him. As you move into the late game, then you have your objectives are still kind of assassin, but also it kind of depends. So let's talk a little bit about this. So in the late game, then of course what you want to do, if you can, is you want to go for the squishes, meaning if you can assassinate their ADC, if you can find a flank. So if their team is here, your team is here, and they start a fight, and you can flank from over here or something, and get your shark onto their ADC or their mid lane or something else, and you can pick those off before they get to do anything. That is amazing. However, this is pretty often gonna be pretty hard, and if this becomes more of a suicide mission than actually something that you can do, then start instead looking at, okay, so what are your win conditions for this game? Let's look at this one. Okay, so maybe I'm saying I'm not that fed, I won't really be able to get this jinx, so maybe my objective is just maybe my objective is just to keep her alive. And this means that maybe I use my ult on MipZ as he's running towards us. Oh, she might actually die here. I'm dead. My objective might instead become to protect her, kind of like a support, putting my ult onto MipZ, making sure he won't get to be on top of her for that long, and just peel for her instead, and make sure that she can kill the front line, and that way we can win the fights. I know we lost this, but yeah, this happens in my guides from time to time, and that's super okay. These videos, as I've told you, are not to show you guys the best plays of all time. They're just kind of meant to showcase and also be kind of entertaining. So I hope that you guys feel like they are also slightly entertaining. But yeah, early game, play aggressive. You really do want to go for the kills at level 3, 6, or past that. As soon as you start racking up some of those kills, you can just go for these all-ins with your ults, and they're not really going to be able to do that much about them once you hit that stage, which is super fun, to be honest. So he really, like, even playing him with Soul Stealer can be a good option. When you get into the mid game, you kind of want to continue that play style, play around the winning lanes, or play around the winning players of your team. Look at it, be like, okay, my ADC and support are striving, let me make sure that I try to help them. And yeah, that's kind of the mid game of Fizz. You can't split push, but it's yeah, it's kind of weird, and for a new player probably wouldn't recommend it. If you're experienced, of course you can do it. Then you should have a good game sense and a good macro game. Late game, go for the assassin, like go for assassinating and killing people out of position. If you can get to the backline somehow and assassinate them, go for it. You can use your Q on the front line and then E on top of the backline if you're super fed, and then just, yeah, smash them that way. But if you're unable to, and you're not super fed and you won't be able to get to the backline, then instead try and look at your team and be like, okay, can I peel? And for anybody, who's the person I need to help? And this will definitely help you out if you do that. So yeah, that's kind of how you want to play him all around. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and I hope you found it somewhat entertaining. I would love to hear if you guys find these just informative, or if you find them kind of a combination of entertaining and informative. That's what I'm going for. I'd rather right now have kind of poorer gameplay and more entertaining, that makes it more easy for people, or easier for people to digest. That's kind of the purpose of these. So I would love to hear some of you guys' feedback. or if you have any requests for champions, make sure to leave them in the comments section. And just, yeah, overall, thank you guys so much for supporting my channel. It really means a lot to me. It's been ridiculous. We're almost hitting our 15k mark pretty soon, which is insane. So yeah, if you are watching this video and you're not subscribed, then what the hell are you doing? No, I'm kidding, but no, go for it. Go for that button. Just click it, smash it, do the thing you like to it, please. It really does help me out and it really shows your support. All of the things I've seen over the last few months has been so insane. It's reached the point where I'm like, yeah, my dream of one day doing YouTube part or full time might not be so unrealistic after all, or at least if you guys keep this up, it won't be. So thank you guys so much for that. If you haven't already, click the like button on the video. Just, yeah, go ahead and do that. It helps this video come out to as many people as possible, because YouTube is going to be like, yo, people like this video, so more people should watch it. And that way our community grows faster, and that way, yeah, I'm going to get, hopefully sometime in the future, more time to do more videos, because right now I'm juggling full-time job, girlfriend, and YouTube and all kinds of other stuff. So yeah, it would be really nice if we sometime in the future could kind of sit down, rearrange things, and be like, let's give some more time to YouTube. But that is going to be it for this video, and that's going to be it for me talking. It got to be a kind of a longer video than I thought, so I thought this would end a little quicker, but whatever. It was really fun. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, we're gonna end the video in a good fashion. So as always, stay awesome, have fun, and take it easy, guys.